Hello everyone! Since a lot of people seem to be quite interested in the Raiden topic, and especially after all the concerns around her, I actually decided to do one more video on this matter and kind of give you an updated opinion whether I think it's worth wishing on her banner. And if you saw my last video, you already know I really like this character and I did wish for her, so obviously I'm not 100% objective, so what I'm gonna do is I give you 3 reasons for both wishing and saving, and this will hopefully help you to decide. In the background you see my first Abyss 12 run of this Abyss cycle. Unfortunately I missed 2 stars, I'll go back and get them later. If you are looking for Raiden gameplay and endgame content on a free-to-play account, this should still be a good enough example and hopefully help you gauge if her playstyle is appealing to you. And if you're interested in any of the builds used in this run, I show all of them at the end of the video. With that being said, let's get started. So I'm gonna start with the reasons to save your Primogems and basically not wishing on her banner. The first one being, there's a real possibility that Raiden Shogun will get buffed. And alongside her, maybe even the Electro Resonance and Electro Reactions. This sounds like I recommend wishing on her banner to not miss out, but there is always the small off chance that nothing's gonna happen. For example, with the Yoimiya, a lot of people were dissatisfied with her kit, and a lot of people complained, and nothing really happened. But there was one occasion where a character got a major buff. It was Zhongli. He is an Archon as well, so maybe they get special treatment. On top of that, Geo characters were buffed as well, alongside Zhongli. So who knows, maybe the same will happen to Raiden and Electro characters. But why I say you should save in this case is because looking at Zhongli, you didn't have to wait too long after his buffs to get his free run. So if Raiden will get buffed next patch, or even one patch after this, there is a real possibility that she will get a rerun rather soon. So you might as well be on the safe side and just not risk it and just wait for the rerun in case she gets buffed. The next reason is, I think a lot of people think of her as a traditional main DPS, or at least as a character that deals damage and is a DPS in general. Like I said, I think she is a support. If you want to see big damage numbers in general, I think you actually need to get her Constellation too. I never really recommend wishing for Constellations because I'm gonna be honest, it feels like a cash grab to me. Spending like $100 on 2 lines of text or something, I would never recommend doing that. And on top of that, she is not a traditional main DPS. If you are looking for a character like Diluc that does all the work and you like every once in a while switch to a support to press the elemental burst skill and then switch back to your Diluc and he still does all the work. So if Raiden is not a character that you can camp on all the time. You need to switch off of her because she has downtime. And the last one is, I already mentioned this, Electro Reactions and Electro Resonance are both very weak, so whenever you wish for an Electro character, you always have to keep in mind that they are held back by this fact. And if these 2 things aren't get buffed or changed or reworked or anything, the only possible chance to increase the value of Electro characters in general is with the release of Dendro characters. And who knows when this is gonna happen, let's be real. It might take another half year or something, or who knows. And there is even a possibility that Dendro and Electro reactions will be quite weak as well. So let's not bank on the off chance that Electro characters get strong out of nowhere. So this is everything for my reasons to save. So let's proceed with our reasons to wish. So the first thing I want to mention isn't even about Raiden herself, it's about her 4-star banner characters. Every one of those 4-star characters is very high value. And on top of that, if you're a newer player, they even fit quite well into a comp with Raiden herself, which is always a big win in my opinion. So it's a very high value banner. So if you consider waiting for her rerun, you might not get a banner like this again. And let me go over them. Zhangling, obviously one of the best pyro supports in the game, and she is a free character, so you basically already guarantee that you get constellations for her. Sucrose, one of the best Anemo characters. She buffs Elemental Mastery. We already established that elemental reactions aren't that strong, but you can still run Overload or Electro Charge comps. It's not terrible, she will do fine. But even if you won't run her with Raiden, you can still run her in Vaporize or Melt comps, and she is insane. But you are kind of reliant on Constellation 1. For Sarah, she isn't quite as tested as the other two, but she's basically a second Bandit. If you use Bandit in your Abyss Team 1, you can use her in Abyss Team 2 and you have a second attack buffer there as well. You kind of need Constellation 2 to make her gameplay a lot smoother, unfortunately, and the big thing is her Constellation 6 kind of saves pairing two Electro characters and kind of counteracts the weak Electro resonance, because when you buff an Electro character, the Electro damage that character deals is increased with 70% increased crit damage, which is obviously a big deal. So she sounds to be an amazing support. It's not like Bandit that his Constellation 6 is basically useless because it infuses with Pyro and you don't want your Bandit to be less flexible by activating this. So Sarah actually has a useful Constellation 6, so that's a plus, even though she isn't a healer. The next thing I want to mention is, I already talked about this a lot in previous videos, but she is a very strong support in my opinion. She buffs at talent level 9 of her elemental skill between 12 and 24% elemental burst damage for your whole party, which is strong in my opinion, and with about 250 energy recharge, she provides about 40 energy generation with her elemental burst skill. And I also think her elemental burst skill initial damage hits really hard, and her normal attacks with her sword aren't terrible. And I like to emphasize as well that you get one of the best free weapons for her in the game. So you just have to do the fishing event and you get a free 4-star weapon that's basically tailor-made for her. So that's a big win in my book as well. The last thing I want to mention is admittedly a little bit of a cop-out answer, because it's not tied to Raiden's combat abilities or even your account progression in general. So, because I just think she's very fun to play, to be quite honest. I think I love quick swap teams, I love being active and switching through my whole team, pressing every button, going back to Raiden, activating her elemental burst skill, have these amazing animations, attack with her sword, generate all the energy and get right back and rinse and repeat. And I think it's a very active playstyle, very satisfying in my opinion. So if you like this, I think she is the right character for you, because there aren't a lot of characters who kind of work in the same way. I think the only other ones are both Child and Hu Tao. They kind of have the same thing going on with their elemental skills, where you press them, you get your big damage window, and after their elemental skills are down, they are basically rendered useless, so you have to fill for them in this downtime with the rest of your team. You obviously can do quick swap teams with everything, but with every other DPS, but I think it's very satisfying if you do it with one of these characters that kind of incentivize this playstyle. So if you like this playstyle, she is again the right character for you. And on a side note, I kind of like, I'm completely honest, I just like the Japanese aesthetic a lot, and her character model looks amazing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this as well. I guess what I'm trying to say is, even if you might disagree with me and you think she isn't a strong support, And some people might even say she isn't a strong character in general and needs a buff. Let me just assure you, she isn't a weak character. You can still complete all the hardest content in the game without a problem. And if you like her for other reasons, like her animation, her aesthetic, the very fun playstyle, just go for it, have fun with her. You won't regret it, because there's currently not any content hard enough in the game that would require you to wish only on the best characters possible. With that being said, we once again made it to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this helped you make the decision, and have fun in Teyvat with or without the Raiden Shogun, and bye bye.
Benny's adventure team